What's up, guys? So today we're going to be talking about how to rent an apartment in Japan as a foreigner. So for those that don't know me, my name is Mark and I'm currently an American living in Tokyo. So let's get right into it. What do you need to do? Realistically, the first thing you need to do before you do anything or you ever start searching for an apartment is you need to get a job here or a company to help sponsor you. If you don't have that, first thing you need to do is you need to do your research. You need to figure out where you actually want to live. Figure out where your job is going to be. Are you getting a place that's close to where you want to work? Make sure you look at the train schedule. This is a pro tip because depending on what station you're near, the trains might run at different intervals. So what I mean by that is if you're on the Yamanote line, which is the main line that runs around Tokyo, it's a big circle, the trains will normally come every 2 minutes. If you are a little bit farther away, if you're out in the countryside, the trains might come every 5 minutes, maybe every 10 minutes. So then once you've found some areas that you'd like to live in, next step is to contact a realtor. Now in the United States, you can normally talk directly to the apartment owners, but in Japan, you're going to be almost always doing a deal with the realtor. Even if the realtor is just going to introduce you to the apartment owner, you're still going to have to work with the realtor. So in order to find a realtor, it'd be really helpful if you can speak Japanese, but if you can't speak Japanese, it's going to really limit your options. I would just do a Google search to find English-speaking realtors in Japan, and you're going to find quite a few. Especially if you're in Tokyo, you're going to find a lot more than if you're out in the countryside. I would advise working with as many realtors as possible because the real estate agents only have a certain number of houses that they will normally work with. Even in a given area, there might be 3 or 4 realtors that will have different houses within that area. Make sure that you are talking with a couple. And if you don't like the realtor for whatever reason, or they don't have the houses, go across the street because odds are there's someone who can help you. And don't be afraid to walk into a real estate office in Tokyo and see if they can help you just speaking English. A lot of Japanese people, even though they won't advertise it, they can speak enough English to help you out. And it's amazing how far you can go with Google Translate. So give it a shot and you might just be surprised about what you're able to find. This is really difficult to do if you are outside of the country. So I would suggest that before you start your job, if you're going to move to Tokyo, maybe as an English teacher, maybe as something else, I would suggest that you give yourself a little bit of time before you start in order to find an apartment. Give yourself a week or two that maybe you're living in an apartment, living in a capsule hotel, staying in an Airbnb. Just use that time to go look through apartments because what you see online might not be the reality. So I would highly suggest that you physically go look at apartments. But before you do that, make sure you do your research. Expect to pay a commission and a security deposit. Even though they'll help walk you through some things, they'll normally demand about a 1-month commission on the apartment. So if your apartment's $1,000 a month, expect to pay about $1,000 just for the realtor, for helping you find the apartment. So don't feel bad when you're asking the realtor to take you all around town because they expect that. They know that they're going to be getting a fat commission check from you, so go to 2 or 3 extra apartments. Maybe if you're looking at 50 apartments, that's a little excessive, but you know, if you look at 3 or 4 houses with a realtor, that's fairly acceptable. If you can get a contract in English, that's really ideal. You're most likely going to have one in Japanese. So take your time, use Google Translate, and figure out what they're trying to say. Look out for numbers. The numbers in the contract are going to be the most important thing, and make sure that you understand the words around the numbers. So some of the numbers that you're going to have to pay attention to are the security deposit, how much you pay in rent, if there's any utilities or anything like that, and the duration of the contract. In Japan, normally the duration of the contract will be about 2 years. So find an apartment that you're going to like because odds are you're going to be stuck there for 24 months. Pro tip, or something that I look for when I'm looking for apartments, see what's around, see how close are you to the nearest convenience store, how close are the nearest restaurants, because if you're living in Tokyo or if you're living in another part of Japan, especially if you're in Tokyo, you're probably not going to have a car. You need to see, okay, how close is the nearest grocery store? Is it a 30-minute walk? Because that's kind of unacceptable. But if it's across the street, that's really good. Also, how close is the nearest convenience store? Because if you're going to be walking to the nearest convenience store, something that you don't want to have to spend 20 minutes round trip to get to. Ideally, you'd be within a 2-3 minute walk of one. That will all impact the price. And sometimes the closer you are to a train station or the closer you are to a grocery store, the price may dramatically increase. You also need a guarantor. So normally your company can be a guarantor, and what a guarantor is somebody who, if you don't pay, will say, hey, I'm good for the money. In my situation, I used my girlfriend's mom, because my girlfriend helped find the apartment, and her mom was the guarantor for us. But if you have a job, your company can be the guarantor, so the company will say, hey, we're going to pay for you if you can't get it. So that's one of the other reasons you need a job. And if you don't have a job, make sure you're married or are dating with somebody Japanese, and your experience is going to be a lot easier. Coming up, to find an apartment in Japan, you need to have a job, you need to have a guarantor, you need to do your research, find a realtor, and then sign the contract. If you like videos like this, make sure you like and subscribe. If you have any questions about finding real estate, or you have your own tips that you'd like to share, make sure you leave that in the comments. Alright, thanks for watching.